So Capcom announced Disney Afternoon Collection for PS4, PC, and Steam, and probably Xbox, but fuck if I remember or care. But what's this? No Nintendo Switch? They totally ignored a Nintendo system on games that originated on the Nintendo system. Well, no matter, because I'm here to give a little retrospective on the Disney Afternoon games. Now, I'm only focusing on the games releasing on the Disney Afternoon Collection. You know, DuckTales, DuckTales 2, Rescue Rangers 2, Tailspin, Darkwing Duck, and Goof Troop. Wait, Goof Troop should be in this lineup, but it isn't. Man, that was a fun game. So I was a fan of DuckTales before the game came out. A friend and I were at the mall with my parents and we happened to see this game. We jumped for joy, begged, and my parents gave in and bought it for me. We took it home, we beat it first try. It was fucking easy. However, it was a lot of fun. I played the game over and over. Now, the object of the game is simple make Scrooge richer. I really don't see any other plot other than that. At least some of the characters of the show turn up, like the Beagle Boys, who are wearing white shirts for some reason, Magica Dispel, and even Flintheart Gumgold, or Glumgold, or however you say his name. You're also joined by that absent-minded Launchpad McQuack, Huey, Dewey, Louie, and ugh, Webby, and that caveman kid. I forgot his name because I really can't stand him on the show. Now, right off the bat, you could choose between five stages. You got the Amazon, Transylvania, African mines, Himalayas, and the moon. Now, the first stage I always pick is the Amazon. I mean, come on, it's the first on one at the top of the screen. This is a jungle stage complete with gorillas who wear hats, snakes, spiders, and I hate those fucking bees. The first thing you have to master is pogo jumping. This is what makes DuckTales fun. It's so fun, in fact, that I was severely disappointed when Uncle Scrooge never did that in the cartoon. At the end, it's quite possibly the easiest boss you will ever face. In fact, every boss in this game is incredibly easy. Interesting to note, though, my favorite stage is the African mines, but you can't enter the African mines because the way is locked. So the game transports you to Transylvania, where you hop in a mirror and get the key, and then you go back. Why such a detour, I'll never know. Come to think of it, you have to go back to Transylvania at the end of the game. Talk about taking shortcuts. Of course, I can't talk about DuckTales without talking about the Moon Stage. Why is the Moon Stage so important? Because of the music. The music is so popular, in fact, that the remastered version years later overuses it. I mean, it still kicks ass, but you can't tell. Sorry. I mean, it still kicks ass, but you can tell the makers of the game really love that music. Speaking of the remastered version, it is significantly longer and harder than the NES one. They even changed the whole Transylvania trips just one, and thank God for that. Seriously, I never cared for that stage. In the end, you first Count Duckula or Dracula Duck. I'm not sure what they're calling him now. He's easy. Capcom did release a DuckTales 2, but my stupid ass never picked that game up. It wasn't as good or memorable as the original. You can grab onto things this time and pull them and some other shit, but I only played it once as a kid. Seriously, I wish I picked this game up since it's worth a shit ton of money. Now, I wasn't a fan of Rescue Rangers when the game came out, but the game made me a fan. This game is amazing. Now, Rescue Rangers might be the least favorite cartoon out of the Disney afternoon, but no way is it bad. I mean, listen to that theme song. It kicks ass. Hell, I even love the end themes to the show. It's that good. Now, the show is mainly about Chip and Dale, who decidedly finally to put some clothes on. Chip looks like a cross between Indiana Jones and Sherlock Holmes, and Dale looks like Magnum PI. It's a detective show involving little animals. They only have one woman in the group, and naturally, Chip and Dale wants to fuck her brains out. They also have this little fly with them named Zip, who is useful if they want him to fly somewhere. He doesn't talk, but he's probably more useful than Monterey Jack. I can't stand this character. I don't know, I guess he's too generic for me, and I just don't see what his point is in the group other than being like the father figure or something. Now, the game is somewhat similar to this show. Your main antagonist is Fat Cat, and he kidnaps your only chance of getting pussy, Gadget. So you start off in a stage where you have to hop on electrical wires and get attacked by robot dogs and robot mice. Eventually, you will get fans blown on you and such. Now, the reason why this game kicks so much ass is because it's two players simultaneous. That's something of a rarity when it comes to Nintendo. Seriously, we didn't think this game would ever happen, but Seriously, we didn't think this game would ever happen, but now me and my friends could play at the same time. You get to go on a map this time, and you can choose which alphabet you want to go on. Now, for 8-bit MIDI music, this music just kicks ass. Just listen to this music. It makes me want to cream in my childhood pants. Halfway through the game, Chip and Dale rescue their pussy, but they aren't going to let Fat Cat off that easy okay. Chip and Dale rescue their pussy, but they aren't going to let Fat Cat off that easy for depriving their twigs and berries. So they take off in a rocket and kick more ass until you reach Fat Cat himself. Look at him. He looks just like the cartoon. Now, there is a Rescue Rangers 2, but I never played it or seen it anywhere. In fact, I thought the game was canceled or something because I never seen it. It came late in the Nintendo life cycle, and I was just deprived of another installment. Sorry, I don't have much to say about this one. Now, the shittiest game of the Disney afternoon games is Tailspin. I'm one of the very few, but I actually enjoyed the TurboGrafx 16 version, and fuck you if you think the game is bad. It's another easy, fun side-scroller that unfortunately most people miss, but I enjoyed the hell out of it as a kid, and I enjoy the hell out of it now. Now, I played the Turbo version first, which is a little unfair to the NES one, but come on, this is Capcom, so you would think they would put out a decent game. No, it is shit. You play as Baloo on his Sea Duck, but his plane looks like it should be in fucking Mario Kart. This is a fucking disgrace. If you see the Sea Duck playing on the show, it looks awesome. When I was a little kid, I wanted this plane. I even thought about taking up aviation, but I didn't. But I even thought about taking up aviation, but I didn't because I'm a fucking pussy. Now, this game is pretty much your standard shooter, only shittier. You can flip your plane backwards and move around in like 8 directions or some shit. But this is the entire game. You fly around and shoot down other planes. You really don't see the cartoon counterparts of Don Carnage or Shere Khan. What an holy fuck. At least in TurboGrafx game, you actually see the characters and they look very close to their cartoon counterparts. Not in the NES one, and that's a damn shame. Also, I thought the game was pretty difficult. I don't know if this game naturally is, the controller sucks, or I suck, but I really hate how the controls are, and such a disappointment that little more effort and variety is put into it, so I can feel like I'm more part of the show. Very disappointing. Now, I consider this game an insult because I actually really loved the show in which it was based. I didn't start really liking it when I got the DVDs as an adult, and I was surprised that it had an actual story that adults could probably love. It focuses on Baloo, you know, that lazy bear from Jungle Book. Well, anyway, he's joined by this little kid because you have to have kids somewhere in these cartoons. His name is Kit Cloudkicker, and he likes to surf the skies. Holy shit, that's dangerous, kid. Wait, I didn't say that as a kid. Man, I'm getting old. Well, unfortunately, Baloo's business is taken over by this bitch named Becky, and if your name is Becky, you're a bitch. To make matters worse, Baloo has to deal with sky pirates led by Don Carnage. Baloo also has to answer to Shere Khan, who is like this business tycoon. You would think all this, Baloo needs to get wasted. And you know what? He does. His buddy Louie, who is also on Jungle Book, owns a bar, and he makes sure Baloo gets his drink on. Trust me, he needs it. You see, an actual story to base a game off of. The NES one does not follow. I honestly don't know the plot of this game, and I really don't care. Now, I love Darkwing Duck. Disney made a huge deal out of it with advertisements and a big premiere, which, if I remember correctly, it premiered at nighttime, which is a rarity. Disney was really banking on Darkwing Duck. Hell, he even has his own music video. Now, the show only lasted 2 seasons, and that's really a shame. Darkwing Duck is probably the coolest and one of the funniest characters from Disney. You see, he's pretty much a duck Batman, if you will, and he goes around appearing from smoke and stopping supervillains like Megavolt, Quackerjack, Bushroot, Steelbeak, Negaduck, and so much more. Joining him is this annoying brat named Goslin, and like I said before, they had to have kids in this thing. But look here, Launchpad McQuack is back. Being that I love DuckTales, I welcome Launchpad to the series, as many others probably did. Now this is all markings of a really good video game. Now I played both the NES and TurboGrafx version, and I know I'm going to get a lot of shit for this, but I felt the Turbo game is better. For an in-depth review as of why, check out my Darkwing Duck video on this channel. Seriously, check it out, as I'm sure it'll enlighten you. Or not, whatever. But that doesn't mean the NES one is no slouch. You face a lot more villains than in the Turbo one. I don't understand for the life of me why the Turbo version missed out on Quackerjack. He's in like every episode. At least they got Megavolt, so they aren't too hopeless. Now, the first thing you would notice that this game is closer to Mega Man than the others did. I almost think they used the same engine. Darkwing Duck shoots his gas gun on this one. You can see many different variations of it, like the Arrow. I highly recommend the Arrow. This game is longer and harder than the Turbo version, too. Both versions, you fight Steelbeak at the end, and why in the holy fuck don't you face Negaduck? All you need is to palette swap Darkwing Duck to yellow, and there you go. Darkwing Duck is better than Tailspin, but that's not saying much. That's my thoughts on the Disney Afternoon games. I wish that the collection involving Goof Troop and Bonkers. I mean, I lost interest by the time those shows came about, but the video games were pretty decent. Unfortunately, I won't be owning this collection unless it comes on the Switch or if my dumbass gets up and gets a PlayStation 4. Hey Capcom, get off your asses and release this on Nintendo Switch. It deserves at least that.